Welcome back to Slothbox. I'm Lynden Dixon, and this is another episode of the review show of all the big boxing events that happened this weekend. And boy, were we treated to a great night of boxing, both in the UK and later on in the States. But let's first talk about that UK card. Mick Conlan against Jordan Gill. The night of comebacks, really. Both fighters needed a win for their careers, and Jordan Gill got that win. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But elsewhere on the card, Lewis Crocker beat Tyrone McKenna pretty convincingly, outboxed the man over 12 rounds. And he's setting himself up for a nice 2024. Elsewhere on the card, Kevin Agiarco won on a split decision against Troy Williamson. That was a great fight, in my opinion, one of the fights of the night on that Matchroom card. But the main event, Mick Conlan against Jordan Gill. Now, many people wrote Jordan Gill off, as he's been written off for a lot of his career. But just looking at the bookmakers, he was 6-1 to pull off the upset against Mick Conlan. But he went in the Lions Den. He went to Belfast, the away fighter, and what a performance. Being from the Fens myself, I'm so proud, so happy for Jordan Gill. He knocked him down in the second and then finished him later on in the fight. And then, if you haven't already, after this video, go and watch his post-fight interview. Really emotional, talking about all the trials and tribulations he's been through this year. Talking about mental health issues, breaking up with his wife. And yeah, just being doubted. Like he said, no one in this arena thought I'd win. Eddie Hearn even said after the fight he didn't think he'd win. And he won. And now he's looking at a world title shot. He's got that WBA international strap around his waist. And he's got himself a seat at the table after that win. And like I said, so proud of him, so happy for him. And another big 2024 for Jordan Gill. But for Mick Conlan, no one knows what's next, because he's lost before and come back, and he's lost again and come back. But this is a third loss on the trot now, and it really is a bitter moment for Irish boxing, because he's sort of one of their sons. He's carried the torch for a long time, and it does look like it's the end now. But yeah, really interesting to see what happens next for both of those fighters. But then in America, Ryan Garcia made his comeback. He came out to Lupe Fiasco singing Superstar. And he really did look like a superstar in there at times. And that was the problem. If you look on social media and look at the reaction, a lot of people said he did well earlier on. And then in the mid part of the fight, he sort of went missing, tried some new things that didn't work against Duarte. Duarte didn't really come with the best game plan. But in the end, it was Garcia's power that took him out. And I think we all expected that to happen, really. Ihara Davis was supposed to fight Barroso on that card, but Davis couldn't get a visa application sorted out in time, so that fight's been rescheduled. But Garcia, straight after the fight in his press conference, calling out Shakur Stevenson and Rolly Romero as well, I think. But Ihara Davis himself, he's been on Twitter this morning saying, look, Garcia, if you want to fight Rolly Romero, I'm his mandatory and I'm not stepping aside, so you'll have to wait your turn. So yeah, really interesting, because if you're Ryan Garcia and his management, he's had some beef with his management, Oscar De La Hoya this week. But if you're Ryan Garcia and his people, is that enough of a display to tell you that he's ready to go in with an elite fighter next year, the first fight for next year? For me, as a fan, I don't think so. I think maybe he needs one more, just sort of the level just below. I'm not sure who that name is. But for me, I feel like that's what he needs, not to go straight into those huge Vegas-type dust-ups. I think he just needs one more to get him back sharp enough and ready for those fights. But still, interesting to see what's going to happen next. We've got a big night of boxing coming up next weekend, and make sure you're tuning in for the review show here on Slothbox. I've been Lynden Dixon, the review show where we only talk about the biggest action that's happened at the weekend. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we will see you on the next one.